Welcome to the Aging Well Firefighter, the podcast about thriving under stress, aging with purpose, and taking care of the people who take care of others, not just in the emergency services, but in everyday life. Whether you're on the front lines or standing with us, I'm here to help you fight wisely and age bravely. Spring ahead! It sounds optimistic, doesn't it? Like progress, like momentum, like we're winning at life. But let's be honest. When we move the clock forward an hour, most of us aren't thinking about momentum. We're thinking about the microwave, the dashboard clock in the car, the overhead clock in the back of the ambulance that you can never quite figure out how to change. And if you're my age, Gen X, you might still have mild PTSD from having to reprogram the VCR twice a year for your baby boomer parents. I can still see it, standing there with the remote in my hand, my dad watching over my shoulder like I was defusing a bomb or something. No pressure, right? And if you somehow messed it up, the entire household missed Magnum PI. High-stakes stuff. But here's the thing. Changing the clock isn't just a minor inconvenience. It's a major stressor, and one your nervous system didn't volunteer for. When we move the clock forward an hour, we're not just changing the time in the microwave or reliving childhood VCR trauma. We're disrupting the internal clock that regulates your sleep and your hormones, your blood pressure, your mood, your reaction time, and even how well you handle stress. And if you're a firefighter or an EMT, a nurse, a cop, or a dispatcher, or if you happen to be married to one, you're not exactly starting from a full tank of sleep anyway. So today, I want to talk about what daylight saving time actually does to your body, why that matters more as we age, and how to handle it like a professional who plans for risk instead of just reacting to it. Because aging well isn't about powering through, it's about managing stress before it manages you. Now, let's get grounded in some science without getting overly dramatic. Research has shown that in the days immediately after we spring forward, there's about a 20 to 25% relative increase in heart attacks on that Monday. Now, that doesn't mean that your personal risk jumps 25%. It means across the population at large, cardiac events spike. There's also evidence showing a small increase in strokes in the days following that time shift, an increase in fatal motor vehicle crashes for a week after the time change, more workplace injuries, and more lost work days. But why? Because even 1 hour of lost sleep increases sympathetic nervous system activity. That's your fight or flight system. Cortisol goes up, your blood pressure shifts, your reaction time slows down, your glucose regulation gets all screwed up, and your mood gets a lot more volatile. Now, stack that on top of a chronic sleep debt. Stack it on top of shift work. Stack it on top of being 55 instead of 25. That's when this matters. Here's the part we don't talk enough about, though. At 25, you can brute force through fatigue. In your 50s or even in your 40s, sleep disruption hits differently. As we age, our deep sleep declines and our overall sleep becomes lighter and more fragmented. Our cardiovascular risk naturally goes up, while our recovery takes longer. That's not weakness. That's physiology. And if we ignore that reality, We'll pay for it later. The time change itself isn't catastrophic. It's the cumulative load that gets us. So let's talk about how to not just survive it, but to manage it. First off, the shift before the shift. If you're listening to this a few days before daylight saving time kicks in, start now. Go to bed 15 to 20 minutes earlier each night and wake up 15 to 20 minutes earlier. Move dinner a little bit earlier in the evening. And most importantly, get outside in the morning light. Morning light, outside light, is the most powerful circadian anchor we have. Just 10 minutes outside within an hour of waking up does more for your sleep cycle than most supplements people are spending money on. That light tells your brain, this is morning. Let's adjust. Second, protect those first 72 hours after the change. The first 3 days after the time change are where most of the measurable risk increases show up. This is not the week to wing it. And this is where something called revenge bedtime procrastination can quietly sabotage you. Now, you may have heard that phrase. It took off a few years ago. In sleep research, it's called bedtime procrastination. It was formally described in 2015 as going to bed later than what you intended, but not because you had to, because you chose to. The revenge part is about what happens when you feel like the entire day didn't belong to you. So you stay up late to reclaim some sort of control. Now, picture this. You finish a long shift. You've been on for 12, 24, 48 hours, whatever your swing is. You get home. The house is finally quiet. And instead of going to bed, you sit and scroll on your phone. You watch one more episode of that show, or you just sit there and veg because it's finally your time. That's not being lazy. Research suggests this behavior is tied to a sense of loss of autonomy. When people feel like they had very little control over their day, they delay sleep to take some of that control back. And for first responders, autonomy is already limited. But the truth is that you can't recover from chronic stress by sacrificing your recovery. You might gain 90 minutes of psychological freedom, but you'll pay for it in cortisol, in blood pressure, in reaction time, and emotional regulation tomorrow. And as we age, that trade gets more expensive. If what you actually need is decompression time, take it. But take it intentionally. Instead of open-ended scrolling on the phone, give yourself 20 to 30 minutes of controlled autonomy. Read 10 pages of a real book, one you can hold in your hands. Journal 1 or 2 pages. Do some light mobility work. Or sit with a cup of tea and no screens, breathing slowly. Set a timer, and when it goes off, you go to bed. You still reclaim your time, but you don't sabotage tomorrow to do it. Third, train, but train smart. Exercise absolutely helps during this transition. Movement improves mood regulation, it increases endorphins, it supports better sleep quality, and it helps reset your circadian rhythm. But here's where we get sideways. When you're underslept, your brain's motor cortex is less efficient. Your coordination breaks down. Things feel heavier than they should. Your injury risk goes up, while your recovery capacity goes down. That's not just you being weak, that's your neurology. And if you're over 40, connective tissue just doesn't forgive the way it used to. So during daylight savings time week, especially for the first few days, adjust that dial. Instead of max effort conditioning, think building your aerobic base. Do zone 2 cardio like brisk incline walking or moderate cycling or swimming, rowing on the rowing machine at a conversational pace. If you're strength training, leave a couple reps in the tank and focus on your tempo, that speed of your lift. Move with control and finish feeling better than when you started. This is not the week to test a 1-rep max. Resilience isn't built by proving you're tough when you're depleted. It's built by staying consistent when your ego wants to spike its intensity. Listen, you won't lose fitness by training at 80% for a week, but you will lose longevity if you continually stack fatigue on top of fatigue. So train in a way that supports your recovery, not in a way that competes with it. Fourth, guard your mindset. Even a small amount of sleep loss affects you emotionally. Your amygdala, that threat detector, becomes a lot more reactive. And your prefrontal cortex, the part that says, hey, let's think about this, becomes far less effective. You will be more irritable and more reactive, less patient. Now, that matters on a scene, but it really matters at home. Your family doesn't need a circadian casualty walking through the door. So if you know this week makes you a little more reactive, you can lead through it instead of being dragged by it with this simple protocol. Name it, slow it, choose it. First, name it. If you feel yourself getting sharp or impatient, say to yourself, even silently, I'm underslept. Labeling that state reduces its power and its impact. That's well supported in emotional regulation research. Next, slow it. Before responding, take one slow breath. Inhale for 4 seconds and exhale for 6 seconds. That longer exhale helps downshift your sympathetic activation. And then choose it. Ask yourself, who do I want to be now, in 10 years from now, in 20 years from now? Not, what do I feel like doing right now? Who do I want to be? That question creates distance between impulse and identity. You may not control the disruption, but you can control the standard you respond from. We like to joke about daylight saving time. We groan and we complain. But the older I get, the less I believe in powering through, and the more I believe in rhythm, in preparation, in protecting recovery like it's tactical equipment, because it really is. Sleep is not optional, it's operational. It's not a luxury, it's maintenance. And if you're in a profession that already taxes your nervous system, you don't get to ignore maintenance. We can't control time, but we can control our habits. And our habits decide whether we simply survive this career or we age with strength and resilience and purpose. Until next time, take care of your body and mind. Keep showing up with intention and purpose. And as always, friends, fight wisely and age bravely.